Hey, John Cruz here with your Sunline Recap from the St. Lawrence River Elite Series event. Had a little delay because we have back-to-back of events. I wasn't able to bring you this recap right away. Sorry about that, but here it is. You know, started out that event with a bang. Right off the bat, I went to a bedfish I thought was maybe 3.5 pounds. Ended up, it was closer to 4.5 pounds. First cast with the straight black Missile Baits 48. Threw it right over there in the bed. It didn't even hit the bottom. Boom.
Did the trick, son. Nice one, man.
That big old brown shark ate it. Set the hook, got that fish in the boat. So that started the tempo. Then it was kind of slow for the, for like the next hour or so. I made a move to where I had been catching some shallow fish, and the deal for that was a 3/16 Gamakatsu round ball head with a 3.5-inch shockwave on it. And shrapnel. It's a really perch looking color, and man, I caught a bunch of fish that first day. Probably caught 30 fish, had over 19 pounds. Was sitting pretty good in the tournament. So the next day I went down and started fishing for those shallow fish. Fished them for about 4 hours or so, and all I was catching was little ones. I was catching tons of fish, but I couldn't hook one single fish with any size to it. So I probably had about 10 pounds, bailed out of there, ended up catching a little bit bigger limit, drop shotting a missile baits, drop crawl, and a few other baits, kind of mixing it up, and ended up with only about 12.5 pounds, and missed the cut, ended up in the 60s somewhere. So it was not a terrible event, but you never want to have a really good day and then a bad day to follow it up to finish up an event. But what I was doing with the Missile Baits shockwave was I was throwing it on 7-pound Sunline Sniper, just straight fluorocarbon, making really long casts. This little bait on that jig head with that line makes really long casts. Throwing it on a 7-foot medium action cash and spinning rod, and that was the combination there. On the 48, I had 14-pound Sunline Shooter on that line, and as you can see, I just boat flipped that 4.5 pounder. I wasn't giving it any time to mess around and play. I was just getting that fish right on in the boat. So that was kind of my combinations. Little frustrating that I slipped on that second day. I just needed one more decent fish, one more 3.5 pounder, 3 pounder even, to give me enough to make the third day cut and kind of regroup. But it is what it is. I moved on to the next event. So coming up very soon, we will be giving you the Lake Champlain recap. So that was the recap from the St. Lawrence River.